Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have President Gelle chairs the 21 sessions of the Council of Ministers. For the international scene, Washington threatening to tax 100% on certain French products. Welcome to our newsroom. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Ismail Omar Gelle, President of the Republic, head of government, held the 21 sessions of the Council of Ministers on Tuesday, December 3, 2019. Listen to the spokesperson of the government.
Sous la présidence du président de la République, chef de gouvernement, son Excellence M. Ismail Guelleh, s'est tenue la 21e séance du Conseil des ministres ce mardi 3 décembre 2019 au Palais présidentiel.
At the beginning of the season, the Council of Ministers discussed the consequences of the severe storms and the actions taken by the government to help and assist the affected population. Indeed, the heavy rains that hit the whole country caused considerable damage. Several areas has been impacted by the floods and damaged the main road infrastructure. In view of this situation and the seriousness of its consequences, the emergency procedure, in particular the ORSC plan, had been implemented. The government, under the leadership of the President of the Republic, mobilized all its resources in the various services. Pumping operations on the capital's roads, flooded homes and schools were carried out. Work has been carried out to clear drainage channels and stormwater drainage in the affected areas and to rehabilitate infrastructure. In the field of the national solidarity, the government provided assistance to ensure the primary needs of the victims. Thus, food distributions, bedding, and hygiene kits were provided. On the other hand, the Council of the Ministers discussed preventive measures to deal with this type of disasters, in particular the cleaning of areas of pipelines reserved for water damage, the revision of our sanitation system, the establishment of drinking water reservoirs, medicines, equipment, and the structure adapted to accommodate potential disaster victims, and the question of the functionality of equipment and its maintenance. The Council has therefore decided to use all the state's resources to deal with such a situation. Ministry of Energy in charge of natural resources. First question: draft decree amending decree establishing the National Energy Commission. Second question: draft order of the collection of deed establishment fees and service and mining royalties. The Ministry of Energy presented two texts. The purpose of the first draft decree is to amend decree on the National Energy Commission. This body, whose main mission is to coordinate energy projects and more generally to contribute to permitting any measures that contributes to better coordination of the country's energy development. This project processes to enlarge the membership of the Commission following the establishment of new institutions in the energy sector and other sectors related to it. The objective is to ensure coherence and coordination between the different actors in the implementation of energy projects. The second draft order sets out, pursuant to Article 68 of Law on the Mining Code, the procedures for collecting feed establishment fees and surface and mining royalties, as well as the quarterly direction form. This text provides that the delivery of collection orders, deed establishing fees, are responsibility of the Natural Resources Department. In addition, it specifies the regulations for the collection of royalties from the Treasury. The adoption of this project is part of the strategy to attract investment in the mining sector. Third question: draft order approving Djibouti's estimated electricity budget for the year 2020. The estimated budget for RTD for the year 2020 is presented as income at 31 billion Djiboutian francs, and with a profit result. The 2020 RTD budget foresees an increase in turnover and an increase in energy production for 7.8 in 2020. This 2020 budget also includes investments of around 8.3 billion Djiboutian francs for the construction of wind farm, the prospective phase of the Finale Godomel project, and the project for solar power plant. The RTD also plans to build a second interconnection line and supply the Nasif social housing in the foundation, as well as the implementation of the sustainable electrification program. The adoption of the draft order will enable RTD to meet the growing demand for energy. Ministry of Housing. Fourth question: draft decree approving the provisional budget for 2020 of the Urban Rehabilitation and Social Housing Agency. The draft decree of the 2020 provisional budget for the Urban Rehabilitation and Housing Agency, which is approved in products at 3.7 billion Djiboutian francs. The agency's project revenue are up to 14% compared to the previous year and are explained by the cost recovery at the city level in both the capital and the regions. The agency plans investment projects in 2020, including the construction of numerous housing units in the region and in the capital. On the other hand, the agency plans to continue ongoing projects, in particular the Draft Zero Slums program, in particular the start of studies for restructuring plans for the slum areas and the preparation and development for sites for the recollection of slum dwellers. The adoption of this provisional budget for 2020 will enable the agency to fulfill its mission, in particular the production of social housing.
A lot of bill and was approved in the Councils of Ministers. Listen once again the spokespersons of the government.
Dans des séances, les ministres ont rendu compte au Conseil des ministres.
Ministry of Communication in charge of Ports and Telecommunication. Fifth question, draft decree adopting the draft budget estimated for Djibouti radio and television for 2020. Sixth question, draft decree adopting the draft provisional budget for 2020 of the Djibouti National Printing House. The Ministry of Communication presented two draft orders. The first draft concerns the provisional budget for Radio Television de Djibouti for the year 2020, which has approved in terms of revenue and expenditure at the amount of 1.8 billion Djiboutian francs. The RTD 2020 budget is increasing compared to the previous year's budget, resulting in an increase in operating expense. In 2020, RTD plans several actions: the implementation of program of activities aimed at strengthening national production by focusing on socio-cultural programs through improved coverage of the entire national territory and the renewal of the equipment. The second draft decree concerns the provisional budget of the Djibouti National Printing Office for the year 2020 and is set as income at 364 million Djiboutian francs. This provisional budget for 2020 provides for the implementation of important actions, in particular the improvement of service and the quality of printing, as well as the purchase of equipment and computer equipment. Communications. The Minister of Equipment and Transport gave a mission report on his participation in the ministerial meeting on the performance of the new railway line and the 31st session of the General Assembly of the International Maritime Organization, held respectively from 20 to 21 November 2019 in Addis Ababa and from 25 to 29 November 2019 in London. The Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity reported on her participation in the second season of the Board of Directors of the World Food Programme and the World Week on Social Protection, held respectively from 19 to 21 November 2019 in Rome and from 25 to 28 November 2019 in Geneva.
The Minister of Justice the National Agency for Meteorological Agency has announced that the heavy storms will come in the 6th December at Djibouti in the local date. The Minister of Justice, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdoun, has received the U.S. Ambassador stationed in Djibouti, Mr. Larry Honoré Jr. The discussion is focused on the ways and means to strengthen the cooperation between the two countries, friend and people. The minister has greeted the ambassador of the United States and his The Minister of Justice in charge of Penitentiary Affairs has received the French ambassador in Djibouti, Mr. Arnaud Guillois. The discussion is focused on the ways and means to strengthen the bilateral relations and cooperation between the two countries and the two people. The Minister Ali Hassan Bahdoun has thanked the French ambassador for the ambassador of France to Djibouti, Mr. Arnaud Guillois, has received a warm welcome to the minister's offices. the conference on the RTD.
We at IGAD recognize and value the importance of putting the business community at the forefront of promoting intra-regional trade and investment in our region to make the AFCFTA a reality. It is important to recognize and appreciate the role of our businessmen and women in taking the lead to promoting intra-regional investment which provide employment and boost household incomes. Therefore, permit me at the outset to salute the commend the President of the Republic of Djibouti, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, his government and Djibouti Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as well as the Pan-African Chambers of Commerce and Industry and other leaders in business for collaborating to organize this 2019 African Prosperity Conference.
The coordinator of the United Nations system, Barbara Manzi, recalled in her speech that for the common market to become a reality, the private sector must be able to play its important role in achieving the objectives of the United Nations agenda in 2030 and the African Union's of 2063. The World Bank representative, Mr. Boubacar Sibari, stressed that the ZLECA is the tool that will help build the commercial Africa of tomorrow. The president of the Chamber of Commerce, Yusuf Musa Dawale, reminded him in his speech that the ZLECA is not only a strong political act, but also an act of creating very strong economic value. The Minister of Commerce, Hassan Ahmed Arbahim, highlighted that the Republic of Djibouti has real comparative advantages in logistics, including advanced port infrastructure that will enable the country to further exploit the market in the Horn of Africa and beyond. The Minister of Health, Mohamed Warsama Diriye, participated in the 20th International Conference on HIV/AIDS held in Kigali, Rwanda's capital. Indeed, the Minister of Health and his delegation took part in the work of the International Meeting of Global Decision Makers, which annually gives them the opportunity to unite their effort to make Africa an AIDS-free Africa under the leadership of Rwandan President Paul Kagame. The 20th conference on the AIDS brought together all the leaders of the African country with the participation of WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom and other speaking health ministers, Mohamed Warsama Diriye, indicate the privilege of the representing President Ismail Omar Guelleh by reaffirming Djibouti's commitment to continuous effort against HIV/AIDS and to strengthen the country's capacity to end this epidemic together. The Reconnaissance and Investigation Squadron of Camp Wa'ais Ajab in We'a'arta region is hosted an end of training ceremony this morning, Tuesday. This ceremony specific armory trainees, it should be noted that these interns recently returned from their deployment to Somalia. This colorful ceremony was presided over by the General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of Staff of the General Armed Forces, the Prefect of the Artas region, Muhammad Sheikh Hassan, the President of the Regional Council, and the elders of We'a were honored. The graduation ceremony was also attended by senior armed forces officials, Major General Hassan Ali Kamil, CMG advisor, Colonel Abdullahi Abdi Farah, Director of the National Police. Then the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces conduct a review of the troop trained to pay tribute, consisting of the honor of picket and the trainees. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim greeted the delegation of senior officials before taking their seats in the official gallery alongside the prefect and the president of the Artas councils. Indeed, the specific trainings and non-commissioned influence the same gas, the guests of honors and the military delegations were in the officials gallery. Colonel Dahir Hassan Abadid, commanders of the armored regiment, commanders of then took the floors to present the audience a brief overview of the trainings provided and the objectives achieved. Let us know, sir. Proud of the demonstration's performance, the Chief of Staff, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, congratulated the armed forces and athletes for the excellent results achieved and hard work. SAMG urged the trainees to persevere further to demonstrate this satisfaction. General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim promoted the first 4 winners to the next rank. The ceremony ended with a family photo. Subsequently, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim conducted guided tours on the rehabilitation of infrastructure inside the camp, which was explained by Captain Ahmed Kaise Daher, commanders of the Reconnaissance and Investigation Squadrons of Wa'ais Ajab camp in We'a. Indeed, the camp Wa'ais Ajab in We'a has acquired a new rooms equipped for the ordinary use of as a cooking point for tenants' meal. These rooms equipped with the appropriate cooking equipment. There are gas cookers connected to the cooking gas network. Over storage chamber to store non-perishable products such as foodstuff. The ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary of the Djibouti to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Diaydin Said Mamakrama, was received in Monday's December by His Royal Highness Prince Abdullah bin Bandar bin Abdul Aziz, the Minister of National Guards in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Discussions focus on several issues in the field of bilateral cooperation between the two sister countries. The United Arab Emirates Consulate General in Djibouti held an official reception last night at the Campeski Hotels to celebrate the 48th anniversary of the national holiday. The Minister of Transport and Public Work, Musa Muhammad Ahmed, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Muhammad Ali Hassan, the Director of the Arab Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Muhammad Ali Wadiye, attended this event. Several members of the diplomatic corps in Djibouti, representatives of United Nations organizations and non-governmental organizations, to well a group of businessmen and civilians, military figures attended the ceremony organized annually by the Consulate Generals of the United Arab Emirates in Djibouti. On that occasion, the Chargé d'Affaires of the United Arab Emirates Consulate in Djibouti, Salem Ali Shami, delivered an important speech in which he affirmed the importance of the United Arab Emirates National Day and the major achievement of his country in various fields. The United Arab Emirates celebrated the National Day every year on December 2. The countries will remember on the immense achievement of the founding fathers in laying the foundation stones of the strong state which leaders and people gathered under the banners of a nation by advancing their prosperity, added the General Consul of the United Arab Emirates in Djibouti. The National Commissions of Human Rights, in collaboration with UNFPA, organized yesterday at CDC of Neighborhood 3 an awareness-raising ceremony of the right on the child and the fight against female genital mutilations. This ceremony is organized in close collaboration with the CNDH and UNFPA. This ceremony is an initiative to promote young people's rights, such as obtaining a national identity card and refusing female genital for young girls, and fighting drugs as well as gender-based violence can have serious and lasting consequences on the health and well-being of this education and safety of its survivor. The ceremony was attended by the President of the National Human Rights Commission, Saleban Umar Udin, CDC officials, representative of UNFT, community leaders, and representative of Women's and Youth Association. For the international scene, Washington threatened to tax a certain French product at 100%. This varies well for a tense atmosphere between Donald Trump and Emmanuel Macron today in London at NATO summit. The American president said last night that he was ready, in response to the French tax on GAFA, to impose additional customs duties of duty up to 100%. The emblematic French products such as champagne, Roquefort, certain cosmetics or hard bakes, up to 2.4 billion euro French product could be affected. The proposal of US sanctions are simply unacceptable. French taxation on digital giants aims to restore tax justice. It is aimed not only at American companies but also at Chinese or European companies. Yesterday, the French ministers of the economy accused that France would never renounce its tax on the giants of technology. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.